welcome to episode 58 of Cross Atlantic Gaming. I'm your host, Risky the Kid, and joining me this week is my co-host, Moose.
Hey, friends.
And in our rotating third chair, because Chocolate's not here, guest host, Chaotic.
Hey, guys.
What's going
up,
on,
buddy?
Chaotic? How you been?
Not too bad, folks, yourselves.
Not too bad. Tonight's show, we were meant to have Kate the Great on, Super Catrix, but she had some technical difficulties with the mic. So next week, you should get that, and that should be exciting. I'm kind of glad we didn't have two Scotts on, though, at the same time, because
It'd be a whole lot of what? Did you hear what?
just
It's been
usually have
fine.
Chocolate as that bridge, like that translator for us, but
Who knows if he's translating accurately, though. He makes up words and stuff.
that's true. Hardly has a grasp on our language, am I right? Ba-dunch. That was rude. All right, before we get the show going, there are a few things to take care of. That Gleam.io contest that's going on for the Division 2 PC game, or a copy of the Division 2 on PC. If you're listening to this right now, you've got 3 days. If you're listening to this the day it comes out, you've got 2. On July 4th, that ends. All you have to do is follow us on a few different socials, and you're entered. If you were already following us anywhere, you would have got entered for that stuff. But a link for that is going to be in the show notes, so you can click that. It should be the link right at the top. So get yourself entered. What do you got to lose? Play a little Division 2 on the PC. The best place to game. Am I right, guys? Moose? PC gaming? Yeah?
I don't know. I just got my Ultimate Game Pass, so I'm getting ready to check out the library and download some games.
Some good stuff.
Any
Football Manager.
suggestions? No.
Football
no,
Manager,
no,
there you
no.
go. I think it's the
I
only
thought
game you
that-
really need.
Isn't that like the game that's supposed to be unspoken of?
Oh, yeah, right. It's supposed to be like an automatic kick 'em off the show
Right.
kind
Where's
of
the
thing.
dump
Yeah.
button for this guy?
There's one called, I want to call it Crossfade. It's Cross something. It
Okay.
looks like a game you should be playing on your Switch, but it seems like a lot of fun.
Okay, sweet.
Give that one a look at least. All right, we did have 2 of our monthly contests wrap up. That was the Step Challenge and our active Discord user thing that kind of happens in Discord all the time, or every month it resets. But the winner for the Step Challenge, sad to say it, that was Chocolate.
And I don't know if it's
So-
got to be asterisked, right? Sorry, I have a hard time with that word.
Asterisk.
Yeah, there you go.
Sure.
And because he had to have had whoever looks after his kids wear the step, his pedometer, and then Eric probably had to wear the pedometer when he went to get chocolate coffee, and so I don't know how accurate his numbers were, but he did 500,000 steps last month. That's insane. Him and Scottman both did amazing.
Madmen, I tell you.
Yeah.
But the month reset on that, there'll be a link for that in the show notes as well. Or better yet, just come join us in Discord. There's links
place to
for
be.
it there as well. It is the best place to be. Speaking of Discord, active user for the month, that was Kate the Great, Super Catrix.
Woo! Kate
Thanks
the
for being-
greatest.
Kate the Greatest. I'll have to change it to that. Yep. So that has reset though. So if you want to get in and maybe get a shout out at the beginning of next month's episode, hop into Discord. Links for that in the show notes as well. Every link to everything is in our show notes.
Hey,
What
and what's
more?
the worst thing that could happen if you join the step challenge? Drop a couple LBs, feel better about yourself,
Couple LBs, couple stones.
Wife might look at
All
you,
over there.
with an extra glance here and there.
Wife might actually look at you.
And there you go. That's
Just
what
in general.
That's what I'm going for these days. I'm kidding.
I won't poke any more fun. All right, and then lastly, I did want to note that over on Patreon, the hosts on a weekly basis are now going to be posting a little more content. This content is free for everyone, so you don't need to be subbed to us or anything like that. But if you go to patreon.com/CAG podcast, I put the first one up this past Friday. It was just kind of a top 5 games you can play outside. I'll leave it at that. So there should be a lot more posts. That channel should be a little more active now, or that webpage. So go check it out. It's worth, like I said, it's all free to everyone. So, but what's the harm in checking it out?
That's right.
No harm.
When are you getting your box, Triska?
What do you say, Moose?
Where are you getting something?
Where am I getting my bots?
Your box. Your box for your Switch.
Oh, my sunshade.
I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about.
No, it'll just be a fun drinking game for everybody watching at home. Every time I have to say, what did you say? You have to take a shot. So that's one. They're out of stock on Amazon, so I guess I gotta wait and wait and wait.
There's a shade that you're buying to block out the sun so you can play your video games outside.
Yeah, maybe you should head on over to patreon.com/CAG podcast and read my post, Moose.
I'd love to.
All right, good. All right, and with that, another week in gaming. What have we all been playing? Let's start. Guess first. Borderlands 2. Chaotic. Are you playing that because the new one's coming out? What's going on?
Jumped back in because of the DLC. So I've ran through the Commander Lilith's DLC for the sort of bridge between 2 and the start of 3. So it raises the level cap up to 80 instead of 72. So grinding that to just make sure that I've got everything done before I start. Probably going to jump onto the pre-sequel before the new one comes out, because I've never actually ran the pre-sequel yet. Leveling up some characters, so I think I've got 4 of my characters now up to level 72, so they're all maxed out. I know. I was bored and got sidetracked. So
I wish I could get so bored that I would run the same game 4 different times for 4 different characters.
That's quite a sidetrack. Did you forget that you played it, or?
No, basically what I'd done is I got my main character up to level 80, and then I was basically playing it on level 80 with the new characters, so every time I got XP it was jumping me up 2 or 3 levels at a time.
Oh, I gotcha.
So
power level.
Just power leveled, yeah.
The Commander Lilith DLC, that was completely free, right?
It's free up until the 6th of July, I think.
Oh, okay. So if people want to hop onto that, you got to do that pretty soon then.
You just have to have it downloaded by then, or you have to have
it
played
I think as long as you've got it downloaded by then, that you get it for free.
Okay.
Nice. And like you said, it's just a nice little bridge between 2 and 3 then.
Yeah, pretty much. It explains to you basically what happened to Sanctuary, so why there's Sanctuary 3 in space, and it's a spaceship now instead of just a city. It gives you a new raid boss to get through, few new weapons, shields, things like that. Introduces a new type of weapons, so much like all your other loot and shoot games, there's a tier system for the rareness of the weapons. So these ones are effervescent, so they're quite shiny and metallic. Trying to think what else it adds. Few character storylines. They actually do a side quest that I don't know if you've seen about the story with the Claptrap voice actor. So there's a side quest for that to take the mickey out of the old guy, which was basically he had started up a venture that he had done for free of charge, and now he was looking to go about doing the business but getting paid for this business and charging exorbitant amounts. It was Claptrap who gave you the quest, so it's quite a very unsubtle dig that they're aiming for that voice actor.
Did you get to hear the new Claptrap then?
Yeah, so I didn't notice, there's a couple of actors who are a little bit different. So there's obviously the Claptrap actor's a wee bit different. I did think at first the Mordecai actor was different, but I'm not 100% sure if he's different to the original. The other guy who's in Tales of the Borderland, he doesn't feature in the DLC, so I've not heard him yet.
Oh, okay. Huh, interesting. Hopefully he's just as good. I remember it was pretty jarring when Destiny lost Peter Dinklage, and then the ghost changed because it went from so robotic to robotic and kind of friendly. It just it was definitely better, but at first it was kind of whoa, this isn't what my ghost sounds like at all. So
yeah, I mean, I think with the Claptrap actor it's going to be a big miss. I mean, I don't think the guy from Tales of the Borderlands is going to be a big miss, but Claptrap was fairly well loved throughout the game, so that'll be a bit of a miss not having him in it.
Yeah, for sure. I love it when he's I'm dancing. It's my favorite quote in the world.
Oh no, not stairs. That's my favorite one that I've come across so far.
There is another one where in the run up to just before the stairs, when he first gets up to the first wee bit, he says, "I'm going to kill you, Jack, single-handed, and then I'm going to teabag your corpse."
Oh Jesus!
All right, that's a good one too.
Make sure to mark this one mature, Risky.
Oh yeah, who's taking the all the notes?
We're just gonna have to let this one ride, I guess.
All right, explicit content, the best content,
That's
in
right.
my opinion.
Most of
All
us
right,
are
cool.
adults here,
That's true.
and others just refuse to grow up.
Why grow up if you don't have to? That's what I always say.
I'm trying, dude.
All right. Speaking of trying, you trying to get through that GTA 5 campaign after 6 years now, if not longer?
Yeah, and just because, I dragged it in the dirt last week saying it was overrated. I never really did play any of the campaigns or anything in GTA. I just kind of screwed around with them. So it was just, kill cops and run people over. And so I didn't really see much appeal. But the writers in this game are pretty good.
So have you never done the main quest?
That's what I'm doing right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was never... I think the first GTA I was introduced to was in college. I got my first Xbox my freshman year, and somebody was playing it next door on their PlayStation, and I was into Halo and Madden, so I could care less about it, and all I do is go over there and try to get a bunch of big police chases and get the military involved and all that fun stuff, and put in the codes for all the weapons and everything. So the game didn't really appeal to me that much, and then I picked it up on sale because a few people like to play some of the mini games online, so I basically have just been playing GTA Online for like 2 years, not even messing with the main campaign. So I figured it's in my backlog, I should give it a shot, and I'm really enjoying what I've played so far. Trevor is a complete maniac, and
He's
I love
the best character in that game by a mile.
I love every minute that I play as him.
Have you seen the video of the? I don't know if it was Comic-Con or what it was, where the guy for the crowd actually asked him to come up and swear at him.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's so good.
That's amazing.
And then, go ahead.
I was gonna say my favorite part about Trevor is like how you can, how you switch to like different people, and then it kind of picks up with whatever they're doing in their daily life, like the stuff that you can come upon when you switch over to Trevor,
Just
like dangling
picking
dudes
himself,
off
or
bridges.
picking himself out of a gutter and wiping drool off the side of his mouth.
shoving dudes' heads in toilets and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
But I'm enjoying the story, and it's definitely not one I could play in front of my kids because there are no non-adult themes in that game, I think.
Yeah, yep. They know what audience they're playing to, and it's not your tiny children.
No, that one is very much a case of they have to be in bed for a good couple of hours to make sure that they're not walking in on anything.
Yeah, we were playing Sea of Thieves last night, and I was talking to Risky about the scene. I just got done with the scene where his daughter, the pop princess was taking it up the butt so that she was still a virgin from one of the people in the record business, and they show everything.
It's
and I'm
about
like,
as graphic as it can be.
Me and my wife were just sitting there. She was, working on her computer, and both of our jaws just dropped, and we looked at each other like, oh, "What are we watching right now?"
I'm so sorry. That's not what this whole game is based around. I swear to God.
So,
That's
but
too
it's
funny.
fun. It's it's guilty pleasure fun that you should play in the dark by yourself, but it's still fun.
Apparently, yeah. I never got all the way through that campaign. Maybe I should go back.
Yep, I'm gonna do it.
It was pretty awesome though. All right, cool. All right, hey, I'll go next. The Dragon Quest Builders 2 demo came out on Switch, so I took a look at that. I dabbled in Dragon Quest Builders 1, just the demo for that as well, actually. But if you're not familiar, it's kind of like
Minecraft, right?
Yeah, it's like structured Minecraft, I would say. Like, it has some RPG elements, like leveling up. There's combat, like where you can craft stronger weapons to fight like stronger monsters and whatnot. And then there's like quests, and there's a whole storyline, but it's kind of everything in between that is very Minecrafty with like harvesting and like building shelters, that kind of stuff. If you have to get to an objective, you can obviously just like lay down bricks of whatever to get to a certain spot. Kind of like that, I guess, if that's the easiest way to describe it.
How is the combat? Is it turn-based or is it, you know, you can
No, it's just
control
it's
your guy?
it's hack and slashy.
Okay. Nice.
That's exactly
Mash the
what it feels
buttons.
like. But what's super clever, it's not that clever, it's just a smart design decision, but instead of having to like switch between like a pickaxe and your sword maybe or something like that, they're on different buttons. So I can be trying to take down a wall at one point, and then if something comes at me quick, it's just on a complete different button to turn around and like hit it with my sword or whatever, instead of having to tab over, switch to my sword. It's kind of, since they're set on different buttons, that's super useful. And a cool thing that you can do here is when you're building, you can just have it, you can set it up so it will just build like 5 high or build 5 across without having to like stack each individual block on top of each other. So if you're building structures and whatnot, that's made a little bit easier, which is nice.
Right. I played the demo of the first one, and it seemed like there was kind of like blueprints, right? So then you'd set it out on the ground, and then it told you where you needed blocks where to build whatever room. Or is that correct?
Yeah, so in the demo, you run into one of those where a guy gives you a blueprint and is like, hey, I need you to build this, but then he gives you 2 chests full of the materials you needed, so you didn't have to scavenge for them. But I'm assuming if you run into the blueprints later in the game, you would need to have those materials on hand or stored somewhere, which is kind of cool. When you first get plopped down there, you are by yourself, and then eventually you run into some NPC characters that are going to play with you. The companions are really cool in this game because they help you out when you're doing things like if you go and hack down a piece of stone or something, they see that you're doing that, so they do that. Or if there's a bunch of monsters on the board and you start attacking one, they kind of just join in and attack with you.
So it's kind of a smart AI type deal.
Yeah, and then the other thing is this is going to be a 4-player co-op when it comes out, so as you're going through all these missions and stuff, you can be playing with friends, and you can be building with friends, yada, yada, yada.
Is that couch or is that internet?
I'm pretty sure it's internet.
Nice.
I don't think it's just couch. So yeah, should be fun. One of the first quest givers, I guess, that you run into, he kind of like lays everything out for you that you're on this land now, it needs to be rebuilt. But in order to do that, you're going to need help from companions. You're going to need different materials. And to get these things, you have to take a boat to like different islands. And they kind of set you up where they tell you about this farmer lady who she's really good at cultivating crops or whatever. So you should recruit her to your team, but you have to go do that. And then the island you're going to is going to have new types of blocks and materials that you can get. Like, I'm assuming it's all vegetation based for this like next island I'm at, because it's a very barren like desert where you start off. So I think going to the new lands, you get to bring back a companion, get to bring back some materials, and that's kind of going to be how this story plays out, I guess, because you're just trying to rebuild the city that you landed on. And then
where are the dragons?
That's Minecraft, dude. That's the final level.
What?
Dragon Quest doesn't have
There's
dragons.
no dragons in Dragon Quest?
I've got, dude, I have no idea. I just know that the Ender Dragon in Minecraft. That's all I can think of.
I don't know anything about that either, so.
I know nothing about Dragon Quest, to be fair. Like the main games, no idea. I know that one of the mainline ones is being ported over. I think it's 9 or 10 or something. People are excited about that.
Right.
I'm more excited for Dragon Quest Minecraft.
Okay, so let's put Switch games into some categories here. It's a buy digital, so you own it forever. Buy on a cartridge to future sell back or trade or
send
wait.
to your friends so they can sit in their glove compartments for months.
Dude, that thing's probably not even going to play anymore. It's probably heated up so many times and cooled
It's next
down.
to me. I'll try it at some point, I'm sure.
But or the third category would be, I guess, wait for it to go on sale and buy it then. So what would you categorize? Because this is probably, what, $60?
Yeah, I pre-ordered it, so.
Okay. So
Easy
buy it
enough.
digitally. There you go. It's that good.
Was the demo was really, like, the first 10 minutes you're on this weird ship, and, like, that kind of goes slow, but it's introing you into like how to do the basic things. Like, this is how you sprint, this is how you pick things up, and blah blah blah. That's kind of dumb. But when you finally get to the island, you're like, okay, cool. And then they really got their hooks in me right at the end when they're like, all right, we're going to this new world to get this farmer, to get some new blocks, to get new companions. And then they're like, that's it for the demo. And I was like, oh, well played.
Right. I'll give the demo a shot.
Yeah, I definitely urge everyone to do that. It's free, so why not? And that game comes out in 2 weeks, so it's kind of...
You should have waited then, because now you're just going to be thinking about it for the next 2 weeks.
That's true. I've got that. Marvel Ultimate Alliance is coming out, and the new Fire Emblem game are like back-to-back-to-back weeks.
So you won't be on the Xbox much. So much for Pirate Legend.
No, that's on the PC. I can play my Switch while I'm... Yeah, I'll figure it out. Plenty of time for all this stuff.
Just make sure you make your priorities straight, because Captain Meg will not take any messing around on the ship.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess I should probably hit Pirate Legend first. All right, deal. Not buying anything this month. Yeah, that's really it. Go try the demo. It's definitely worth a free download to see if you like it at least. All right, Chaotic. You were playing some people's game of the year last year, God of War.
Yeah, so I took a wee bit of inspiration from one of the people I used to work with who stripped down their PlayStation and put it all back together with a little TLC. So I decided to try that over. I think it was Saturday night I tried to do it. Thought, right, let's see how much I can stress it out to see if it works. I put God of War on, and thankfully the PlayStation is sounding considerably better now, so I decided that it was a good idea to try and finish off some of the Valkyries, do some more of the collectibles in that game. The game is just so beautiful. Such an amazing, immersive world, especially with the different regions that you can go to with the different climates. So I jumped back into that and honestly fell in love with it again. It takes something for me to say it's as good a game as The Witcher, but yeah, such a good game.
It's the Valkyries. I remember running into one Valkyrie and then being like, nope, I don't need to go to these ever again.
Yeah, stay away from that guy.
Hard.
That's what I was about to say. I was gonna say those Valkyrie fights are no joke, huh?
Yeah, I mean, like most of the game is pretty much you can hack and slash your way through most of it. Like obviously there's a little bit more that you need to do, but most of it you can hack and slash through it. But as soon as you come to the Valkyries, it's very much like a Dark Souls fight. Mm-hmm. Like you need to know the movements, you need to know how their body's positioned for what's going to happen next. So
you got to know the counter for every movement and when they're vulnerable to take shots. Yeah. Yeah.
So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's definitely worth the effort to when you finally get the Valkyries defeated. There's a great sense of accomplishment.
I wouldn't know. I think I died 3 times. I was like, okay, I don't need to do this. This isn't going to progress my story.
In fairness, there's 9 of them to complete, and I think I've only done 3, so I'm still a mile away from trying to get all of them completed.
The good old days when I felt like I could try to 100% a game. I just can't do it. I don't think I can do it anymore.
Trying to 100% God of War, that's a massive task, because there's about 8 different types of collectibles you can get. So it's not a...
How many playthroughs of the game do you think it'll take to collect everything?
I mean, obviously you can do it in just one, because just the way that you can play through it, because it's still open world. But I think, especially with the Valkyries, to get the top level gear with the enchantments that you'll need to max out your skill trees, you're probably going to be end game on New Game Plus to probably even be close to it.
Right, so that's probably your second or third playthrough on hardest difficulties.
It's not even the hardest difficulty, just going through it on New Game Plus at the standard difficulty, you'll probably be enough to get your skill tree maxed out. It all depends on how you build your character, how you build Atreus up as well. So, as much as
on how long to be completionist, 50 hours. That seems fair. That maybe this
100%.
Is a game I could 100%.
Wait a minute, 100% for 50 hours?
There's no way, dude.
I'm assuming that's what completionist means.
No way.
Well, take it up with howlongtobeat.com, not me.
I need to
that game
check.
took me 50 hours just to beat the story.
Yeah, I need to go and see how many hours I've put into this game. 'Cause there's no way that 50 hours is 100%.
Yeah, maybe you guys are just bad at video games, okay?
We already know
God.
that.
Yeah, that goes without saying, Riska.
So for Chocolate, this would have been like a 300-hour game. Yeah, is that what we
It's
think?
just one of those do not finish games, kind of like Katana Zero. I bet we'll never hear about that game again because I just finished it. The last fight's not easy.
Oh god, that's chocolate screwed.
Yeah.
Did you even write that down, Moose?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
We already talked about it multiple times.
Yeah, Moose beat Katana Zero.
Yeah,
Woo.
it's on. I put a check mark next to it on Discord. That's as far as it
As
needs to
legit
go.
as
I
it
guess. Yeah.
Chaotic, anything else to add on God of War?
Not really. No, I'm a bit surprised they've not added anything to it. As in, I thought they might have had something DLC or expansions or things like that they could have added in. But I suppose when a game's that good, you don't really need to go
Right.
much deeper. You can sort of just leave it for the next one coming out.
Well,
But
and-
that's the thing.
yeah.
It was kind of wrapped up neatly
Right.
with a bow, and then
You
if
feel
you
real
watch the like
satisfied.
after cutscene stuff, or after you go like back to your house and you have that
Right.
yeah, I suppose it's not
that
really
whole thing,
Yeah, I suppose it's been long enough now. We're all to see what happens.
do it.
So when you meet Thor,
Yeah.
Oh.
I suppose there isn't really anything else they could have added into it. To be fair, but
Right. It felt good when you finished that game. You're like,
Yeah.
that's why I had a hard time going back to any of the Valkyrie fights or the Game Plus mode or any of that because it
You just felt done.
yeah, it felt like I was done.
Yeah, and that's I mean, hopefully you're not getting extra story DLC or anything, but they're working on the next game, and if it's as complete as this one was, like we have something to look forward to in a couple years for sure.
Yeah, if you haven't played it and you own a PlayStation, definitely get on it.
Doing
'Cause you can
yourself
get it
a
for like
service.
you can get it for like $20 right now. I think.
It's on sale all the time. I feel
Right.
like but yeah, that is a video game for sure.
It was my
real
game of
good
the
one.
year last year.
yeah, I think I was saying that was my game of the year last year as well, if I remember correct.
And that was a
Spider-Man
good
for me,
game
but
or a good year of
Top 3
games.
for sure. It was a great year for games.
Yeah,
Ugh. This year so far it seems like it's gonna be a little tougher, except for
Yeah.
Chaotic, who has Borderlands 3. So
oh yeah.
all right. Last game before we move on. Moose, you dove into some Days Gone. I haven't been there since I started it a while back. How are you liking that?
I am really liking it. I'm glad I bought this game later because I guess it had a bunch of technical issues when it first came out. So it got torn apart in reviews, but I am really liking this game. I'm not really one for survival games where you've got to ration your materials and your gas and bullets and all that, but for some reason this one's got me. You can literally coast your motorcycle down all the hills.
It's so good
Yeah,
to save gas.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can, when you run out of gas, then you basically have to push that thing back to wherever you are or go on foot to try to find a gas tank somewhere.
Well, luckily, in the post-apocalypse, there's a lot of gas cans
There
full
are.
of
Yeah.
gas laying
Yeah.
around, so that's nice.
Here's a pro tip if you haven't figured this out yet. Anytime you see a tow truck, there's a gas can on it. So,
Yep.
but it's a great game. The melee mechanics are fun. The shooting mechanics are fun. It's got the bullet time thing where you can slow things down and headshot everybody around. It's a good game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm not too deep in it. I think the first little quest you get, I forget the guy's name, but I think I'm about 90% done with that one. So if that shows you where I'm at in the game. I forget the guy's name now. It's drawn a blank. Can you remember?
Bus book.
No, it's like a redneck name, like Jerry or Randy or.
Oh, are you not meaning his friend, or are you meaning like the main guy?
Yeah, no, the guy that you're like looking for.
Not Deacon St. John, because you
No,
are Deacon
not- you're
St. John.
Deacon,
What a game.
right,
Or what
yeah.
a name.
Yeah, and he is so angry. He just grumbles and like cusses to himself while he's driving around, and like he has like these inner monologues that are just hilarious.
He's had a series of unfortunate events happen to him. I think he can be a little angry at the world if he wants.
He is.
Yeah.
He is definitely pissed off at the world, which you can't blame him.
No, not at all.
With the situations that's happened to him, but it's a great game. I'm loving everything about it so far, and I'm just trying to get time to play more. So that's been
Aren't we
my commodity that I need to work on lately is just time. So
Yeah, that's the toughest one to buy.
yeah,
find.
you can't exactly.
Good stuff. Definitely, I gotta hop back into that. What don't I have to hop back into though? Hopefully we finish that.
When are you gonna play Destiny?
Yep. All right. There's your answer.
Yep.
I don't know. At some point, when
Yep.
someone's like, "Hey, we're raiding on this day, so you need to be at this power level," then I'll be like, okay." So I'll wait till like the night before, and then just go hard.
Yeah,
That's how I gotta play those games, I think.
I'll see you on Pirates.
All right, see you on Pirates. Once I hit Pirate Legend, I'm assuming things will calm down a little bit.
Then you're just gonna feel empty inside because you won't have anything to play, but you have so many things to play.
That's true. Just thinking about it kind of made my stomach
You don't wanna
upset.
do
kind
it.
of. Yeah, this feels bad. Maybe I'll keep milking it. I'm just gonna start throwing my treasure into the bottom of the ocean instead of turning it in.
What
to
happened
prolong
to
this.
Yeah, what happened to the the skull fort skull? I don't know. It was here.
I can't level up an Order of Souls, so I'm
Risky's
dumping
dumping
all
stuff
of
off the
those
back
into
of the boat.
ocean. It's pretty messed up. All right. Anything else you guys want to touch on before we move on to Game Pass Roulette?
No, I don't think so. I played a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
think you
golf
good.
this week, which was good.
Oh, golf, you say?
Not on video games though.
You're wasting
IRL.
time outside.
I know.
What
I got fried yesterday. Well, actually, I didn't. My calves got fried. My wife's like, I was like, do I need to put sunscreen anywhere? Am I red anywhere? She's like, maybe put some on your calves. And I said something like, don't tell me my business, devil woman, or something like that. And
Yeah,
now
like
my
you do.
calves, yeah. Dude, they look like tomatoes. They're so red.
I like how it's just your calves.
No, it looks ridiculous.
Everyone else is fine. He's got these bright, glowing red calves.
And I got the sock line.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'm picturing it, and I like it a lot.
So, yeah, listen to your wives. Put sunscreen on.
Do it, everybody. All right, cool. Well, this week is a Game Pass Roulette episode, so let's get into some Game Pass Roulette. All right, this game, Outer Wilds, has been our Game Pass Roulette game for the past. What does it feel like? 3 months?
Forever. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, we're finally back on track here. But yeah, Outer Wilds. How would you describe Outer Wilds? It's a space walking sim.
Yeah, space
Mystery?
exploration, basically.
With a lot of story to figure out on your own.
Right. There's no hand holding, and they basically give you a tool and say, go figure out how this works.
Yeah, so you wake up at a campfire. You're taken off in your spaceship for the first day ever. So you go around your home world and talk to everybody. You've got to find some launch codes. Once you find your launch codes, you can take off and go up into space, and that's where a lot of this game takes place. On the how many different planets are there? Like 5, maybe 5 or
Right.
6.
It's not.
Oh, no, I think there's more than that.
It's something that's not like too big, and the whole galaxy that you're in is like super compact.
Right.
Which it's a really good design choice, because the main thing going on in this game is that it's something like 20 minutes. It's like a time loop. So you have 20 minutes to go out and explore, learn as much stuff as you can, and then a cosmic event is going to happen, and then you have to pretty much restart. So you're stuck in this time loop. And like I said, you're just left with what knowledge is gained on that run.
So does that automatically trigger? I thought it was only if you die
that's
you
what I
got put
thought
back to
too.
main base camp.
Until I was alive for
Till
too
you
long,
last 20
apparently.
minutes.
Right. And then the game was like, well, when I first noticed it, it was just like this. Some music started to play, like some folksy music started to play, and then there's this giant like blue flash on my screen, and then you get
wake
like
up by the fire again.
Yeah, and then you wake up by the fire again. So this was
See, because when I noticed it was when you got near that, is it death? I can't remember if it was called death particles or something.
It could definitely happen then if you die then. So
I like how it shows your death when you wake up, like because I smashed into a planet.
Yeah,
and then
so it goes
you
like
look up, and all of a sudden you just see your spaceship smash into the planet above you.
I mean, that flying style is like the flying.
Yeah, once you figure it out, it's okay.
Yeah,
and I really like that they had an autopilot feature where you could just lock on to a planet or an asteroid or whatever, and it would, guide yourself into it. But if you didn't take control and slow yourself down, you would definitely. Except for the first one I landed on was covered in water, so that was nice. I just plunged like 100 feet.
I think that's the main one. I think is that like the main starting block, isn't it? That's where you're meant to head.
So I didn't get I got probably about 2 hours into this game, and I explored probably 3 or 4 planets, but space exploration is just not my deal. So I had a hard time with it.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like this game was for such a specific type of gamer. Like,
right.
You had to not handholdy games. You had to these walking sims where you're not given a weapon or anything. Like it's nothing like that. Nobody's really telling you what to do, or the story is something you need to figure out on your own. And I'm assuming there's things you could probably completely miss. But as you're exploring these planets, each planet I ran into felt so vastly different than all the other planets. And just to go through a couple of them, like Giants Deep, that's the one that's all ocean. And then there's giant tornadoes going on everywhere. The first time you break through that atmosphere, because it's super cloudy, so you can't really see what's going on, and then you land down there, for whatever reason, it was scary in a way that I was so immersed in the world that I came down here and see these tornadoes everywhere, and I was just like, oh my god, this is horrifying. And then I finally got to a little island, and if these tornadoes come through and hit an island, it launches the whole island up into space. It's like, what?
In space. I never realised that either. Next thing I know, there's no gravity. What's going on here?
Yeah, there's that one. Another really cool one. They're called the Hourglass Twins. They're connected to each other by this constant sand storm transference, I guess. It's really tough to kind of explain it. It's like a waterfall that's going from the one planet to the other planet, but it's sand. So all the sand is being pushed from one planet to the other. So what this means is if you're on the one planet that is losing all the sand, you're slowly losing elevation and going sinking down into the planet as the sand's disappearing. And what this does is opens up new areas that maybe you hadn't seen before. And then if you look over at the planet that's attached to it, you see that turning into just essentially a giant ball of sand, because when it transfers completely and you look at it, it's just it's literally a ball of sand.
Just like an hourglass of planets.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? The Hourglass Twins.
It's a picture I painted in my mind.
Yeah. So that's really cool. There's Brittle Hollow is another one. That's the one that's constantly being destroyed by its own moon. If you look, its moon is constantly hitting or shooting fireballs at the planet, so it's slowly falling apart while you're on it. And you can get killed by that falling debris. But then at the center of that whole thing, there's a wormhole. And seeing that wormhole and just knowing that you're going to get sucked up and killed, maybe. Seeing that while you're hopping around and trying to jetpack from place to place is it's horrifying. I don't know. For whatever reason, I just got super immersed in this world. And I think that's why I ended up loving it so much more than a lot of...
You actually gave it a chance.
Yeah, and then because the overarching narrative here is that you're trying to figure out where the culture of the Nomai, what happened to them. They're just a different race of alien. You're trying to figure out what happened to them, because some event had happened, which maybe eradicated them from this galaxy. I'm assuming there's more answers to be found. I haven't made it all the way through this game, but I'm interested to see what happens.
Because I think you pick up on that on the first planet. They've tried to make some sort of, I'm trying to remember what it was called, orbital. It was the big satellite type thing they were trying to build. There was plans for it at the construction yard that you go to. So it's they've been trying to build that, and you're obviously trying to find out how that came about and where they went after they built it.
There's just this, and they give you like a translator, so there's some like little cryptic, I would call them like hieroglyphs on the wall.
Yeah, there's just glyphs everywhere.
Yeah, and you have a translator so you can actually see like conversations that the Nomai had before you. You've got your jetpack. You have this little scout launcher thing, which you kind of shoot it, and then it has cameras attached to it.
I think
so
that's
you can scout out areas.
I think that's what killed it for me. Is it was basically a text-based adventure, you know, with all these other features attached to it. Because everything you did, you had to read in order to get the story. So even when you had like conversations with the NPCs that you find on different planets, it was all like text-based. Right.
So I think something could have been gained by you picking up like audio logs instead of having to read this, or even just dialogue between the characters on the different planets, if that was
right. Just do like a little hologram conversation or something, kind of like the Division does, or you know, kind of paints the picture for you as it's coming.
Yeah, right. But I mean, to be fair, this is developed by Mobius Digital, and it's obviously an indie. You can tell it's an indie game, right off the bat. So
absolutely,
that might not have been in the budget to hire even like amateur voice actors. But then at that point, if you get what you pay for. So if you pay for something crappy, it might just end up sounding crappy. So if people don't mind reading, that definitely is a large part of this. If you don't mind having to discover and flesh out this story on its own, it might not be for you. But I think the whole death loop, time loop thing is just the perfect like gameplay mechanism for this.
Sure.
Because what might happen is you find something cool on one planet, and then at the beginning of your next run, if you want to look at that like further, you know to go straight there. And then the last thing that I'll touch on is just there's a system log in your spaceship that they're called like rumors. So if you've kind of found or like stumbled across something on a planet, there'll be a little question mark on this thing, and if you click on it, it'll tell you where you found it. And maybe a brief little paragraph on what it could pertain to or what you could find because of this. So it just gives you a nice little log of where you've been, and you can kind of piece the story together that way if you've forgotten things that you've ran into before. It's a nice little mechanism for that.
Did you finish it? Did you figure out where the people went?
No, but I'm going to, because like I said, it's real good. To me, it's definitely, like I said, for a very specific type of person. And that happened to be me, so I'm pumped.
Yeah, I think I told you in chat one day. It reminds me of the computer game Myst from like late 90s, early 2000s, where you're trying to unfold this mystery, and you have to basically solve a sequence of puzzles as well as clues that they leave behind for you to figure out what happened.
Yep, this is Space Myst. Like actually, I think that's a pretty good definition right there.
What do people in the community have to say about it?
Okay, hey, this one is from Ladonian. I love the art style of this game. It reminded me of Firewatch, but I felt like the controls were so clunky when flying that I couldn't get into the game. And then he wanted to know if we found the flying difficult.
I think if you just went to the drone thing, that, you know, basically the flying trainer, it was fairly straightforward. And once you could fly the drone, you could fly the spaceship real easily.
Yeah, and I would say, if anything, the drone was a little less forgiving. Like, that thing could just start flipping out of control if you, like, boost it a little bit too far in one direction.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Like, when I first started to do the drone, that was a disaster. But when you were actually in the space shuttle, it wasn't as much as it took a wee bit used to with the vertical and horizontal boosters. Once you were, by the time you had landed on the first planet, that was you pretty confident in how you were going to be flying.
I agree. Like with anything else, practice makes better.
And it had the autopilot function too, so really all you were worried about was taking off, which hold down right trigger, and landing, which hold down right trigger, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the most base level, I guess that's probably what
just
you could
try
say.
not to dent the planet too hard when you land, so that you can leave when you're ready to go.
Right, but I will say, Ladonian, if that's the only reason that you didn't continue to play, definitely get past that barrier, because I think what's on the other side, if you're into the story, definitely well worth the playthrough. Sweeney Sweeney wrote, it looks like a grown-up Hello Neighbor. And When he
didn't
wrote
play
that,
it at all.
I didn't even know where to start. I
Yeah.
was like, we might be talking about two different games here. And then he was like, no, it's just the point of view. I was like, first
person?
What? So
He ain't wrong. He's not wrong. It's first person.
that's a good call. Sweeney definitely is first person, just like Hello Neighbor. So nailed that one on the head. And then lastly, Shine wrote that he played a little bit of it. He think he got to where he was ready to take off in the ship, but it just didn't grab him. I will say, if you didn't even get to taking off in the ship, this game, there's so much more to it after you get off this planet. All the best stuff is when you finally left your home planet.
Kind of, yeah, after you figure out what's going on. And I think that's about as far as I got was, you've got to take 2 or 3 runs to just get down exactly what they want you to do, as well as, your time limit, your oxygen, your boosters, all that stuff you have to manage while you're on the planet. Once you get all that stuff down and it becomes not second nature, but you know what you're doing, I think you enjoy the game a little more.
Yeah, definitely. And back to that time limit being a good mechanic, it kind of just puts way more urgency on everything you're doing, so you kind of just don't feel like you can dilly-dally around, because eventually that's going to come and get you, and you can get back there quickly once you restart, but it's kind of like, okay, I've got like 20 minutes to figure out this next part of the story, or figure out this next glyph, or what this means, blah, 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 blah. But anyways, for me, it was definitely a hit.
It's getting rave reviews by, most of the people in video games right now. So you're not alone, Risky, but it's not for me.
Yeah, I think something that helps it is just how different it is than most things that are out now. So it's kind of like a breath of fresh air for probably a lot of reviewers. So that helps.
How about you, Chaotic?
I mean, I think simply, like, because there's a bit of lull in gaming just now, I think I'm probably going to keep at it and run through it. But I mean, if I had anything like alongside it to play, it would probably be something that I would pass by. But it has piqued my interest enough to at least stick with it just now. And like I say, I'm pretty much I'm on the water planet just now, so I haven't really explored as much as you two have. So it could very well be that once I get over that initial wee part to discover where we're heading from there, then it could very well be that it catches.
And I would say that people that, like, even if you don't think the story's going to hook you, just hop into this game to fly to each planet and just kind of like admire what they handcrafted here, because a lot of these worlds, they're just so awesome and different. Yeah,
because if the immersion from the planets are there, so like as you're saying, if every planet's got a different sort of ecosystem to it, then that in itself will be interesting just to see how well they've done that. And then if the story picks up a wee bit, then that's an added bonus.
It's pretty fun just to fly around with your jetpack and just see what the planets look like and see what the ancient civilization had built on that planet.
Yep. And a fun little thing you can do is, like, immediately you don't even have to fly to another planet. Just go into your ship, get your jetpack, like your boosters, and then get out of your ship and just go explore the planet you're already on. Mm-hmm. Because a whole different level of traversal is given to you once you have that jetpack out of your ship. So, and there's a lot more going on your starting planet than you might think there is.
Hey, I didn't even know that. I might have to go try that out.
Yeah. All right, cool. Anyways, let's now that Game Pass Roulette is back on track, we need a new game, Moose, and this one's on you.
It's my pick.
I'll explain this quickly. Instead of doing it completely random from now on, we're just going to rotate picking games and not telling each other what they're going to be, so that it's kind of like a surprise thing. And the only addendum we made to this was that Chocolate is not allowed to put Football Manager on here because it has to be Xbox Game Pass, not
you
PC
gotta
Game
ban
Pass.
at least one game, or what's the point of having the power of banning things?
Exactly. But Moose, we're going to start with you, though. So you get to pick what Game Pass Roulette game we'll be doing these next 2 weeks. So what do you got?
I'm going to go away from my passion of shooters and to my other passion of platformers. And we are going to play Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition.
All right, sweet. That's perfect timing for Will o' the Wisps.
Right, it should be out soon, right?
I don't know. Sometime.
Also perfect time.
Well, get it back on there.
Well, as long as you
Nice.
tried it, you might be able to throw some feedback our way. Oh, that's kind of funny. All right, sweet. So your Game Pass Roulette game for the next 2 weeks is going to be Ori and the Blind Forest. So hop on that. Moose, you're not going to be playing it on the Switch. That's where you play all your platformers. This is going to be weird, huh?
I actually might have to be because I'm going to be gone the next 2 weeks. So, is it available on the Switch yet or no?
I don't think so, but
I know they
you're also not
advertised
going to
it,
be
but
here for
The review of it.
for the
I
review
know.
of it. So
I think what I'm gonna do is just try to play a little bit of it before I leave, and then I'll either record
Leave us
something or
some
write
feedback.
something. Yeah, exactly.
nice.
So it would be wrong for me to choose the game and then not contribute anything to it.
Yeah, like how Chocolate chose Outer Wilds and then didn't show up today.
Yeah, wow, that's surprising. He didn't do his homework, so he didn't go to school.
I'm just kidding. That was totally my pick.
I
Thought
think
I'd
he
throw
had
some
this
more
vacation
shade.
planned. But he's not here, so let's drag him through the dirt.
Yeah, my favorite hobby. All right, so that was Game Pass Roulette.
Play Ori.
next- What?
Play
Ori. Play Ori. Join Discord. There's a Game Pass Roulette channel in the Discord where you can leave your feedback, comments, that kind of stuff, or reach out to us on social media. Either way,
Oh,
we'll
I
take the
just
feedback
wanted,
anywhere.
Go ahead. I wanted to say I just upgraded to the Ultimate, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, and I wanted to say when I did it, it was either yesterday or Saturday. It said there was only 5 days left, so check into that and make sure that you take advantage of that $1 conversion, because once that time period's up, the conversions go way down in currency value.
Ugh, woof. Definitely hop on that. I think me and you are both good through like 2022. I think at this point.
Yeah,
So.
I'm good for March 2022.
All right. Good deal. All right. Well, next up, let's get into some news. That's not the news music, you idiot.
Wrong button.
Ah, the news. Yeah, I don't even care that I just messed that up. I'm gonna leave that in there in post production for all the people. You're welcome.
I liked it.
Jeez. And I can't even ask Chocolate what's in the headlines. So I'm going to ask myself. Risky, what's in the headlines this week? All right, let's talk about it. Sony has filed a patent that might affect the future of load times for the PS5. This sounds pretty cool. I'm going to read this quick. This is what was filed in the patent, and then we can talk about it in a minute. A system and method are disclosed for dynamically loading game software for smooth gameplay. A load boundary associated with a game environment is identified. A position of a character in the game environment is then monitored. Instructions corresponding to a next game environment are loaded into a memory when the character crosses the load boundary, such that gameplay is not interrupted. So, I just said all that, and how much of that did you understand?
Yeah, I'm gonna need a TLDR.
Okay. That's what we're here for.
So basically, what I read from that is hypothetically in game, if you're 150 meters from what would be essentially like a door that you would go through to a load screen, when you hit that 150 meter boundary, it already starts preloading the next room, so that by the time you actually reach that
Nailed
door,
it.
it's ready just
Sounds
to click
smart.
into.
That is essentially it. It's
Preloading, loading.
Right, the game's going to know where you're headed, if you're headed in a certain direction or to a certain area, and it knows it's going to have to load up a new area. It's going to start to load that before anything else, just so that you're not going to actually hit a load time or a load screen. And then being able to take assets away from something that you may be leaving behind, it just kind of makes it so that is a smoother transition and essentially should lead to a lack of load times. If you played, well, we all played God of War. That was all shot from the same camera angle that whole game, and that was using loading tricks like this. But
So how would something like this work with a game that has fast travel?
I guess it would be like chapters, like a DVD, right?
Because how would you know? Like, because obviously with fast travel, you've got numerous places you can pick to go to. So how would it know where
I
you
think
would
it'd
want to
be
go?
kind of like, DVD chapter selection menu, and it's just all written in the code to where you fast travel to that place, and it recognizes it and starts preloading everything that's coming in that area.
So it would have to be quick, and I mean, just because if they create something like this, it doesn't necessarily have to be implemented in every game. So this could be
Right.
something that will definitely be more suitable for a certain type of game.
Right, linear type.
Right,
Story-based
versus a
type games.
giant open world where there are things, like you said, fast travel. God of War did it really well, where you'd go up into that, like, that
central
Caddock,
thing.
what's the realm? Yeah, it was like a realm where you'd walk around until a doorway would show up for you.
Oh yeah, where you walk around in the circle.
Yeah, like that was a good way to get rid of those load times, because you felt
Yeah.
like you were doing something, like the characters were having conversations while you were walking to this next doorway, which was a doorway into your next area. It was a really, really good way of disguising them loading up a whole new section of the map for you.
And they did their fast travel in that game too, right?
I think
you just had to go
PlayStation
to that
been-
central location where the two twin brothers were in order to fast travel to different locations. So maybe they do it that way, where you have to go to a
Yes.
central hub. Yeah.
Yeah, so it like showed you through the world tree
Right.
type idea, where the room's spinning
Exactly.
and the new gates opening up and things like that. I think Sony have done quite a good a couple of their first things. I know, like with Spider-Man as well, when you've got a loading scene, it's not just like
Right.
telling you little bits of tips and that.
It's hilarious.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, when
sitting
you
on the
fast
subway.
travel. Yep, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, so it's not anything that's like interactive with that bit. It's just enough to like take your mind
And
off
that's
the fact that
like
it's a loading screen.
one of the biggest complaints when Anthem first came out, because I had these humongous loading times. It was a giant loading time, but you were just sitting there staring at the same screen
Right.
all the time.
And you
like-
would literally go
Yeah.
from a loading screen and walk through a corridor into another loading screen.
Yeah, with the amount of loading, oh, jeez, what a mess that was. But just having anything there besides a static loading screen with some text on it, like, anything is better than that. And I'm so glad that people or companies like Sony are developing things like this that are just going to kind of blur the lines of all that processing that's happening on the back end and loading. So, sounds pretty cool. All right. Next up, this one's pretty bad and egregious, but NBA 2K19 ads. So the game has recently added these unskippable in-game commercials. So if you're playing your games and they go to like a TV break, it starts playing commercials for whatever. The example I saw was like for a show on TNT or something, and
Wow.
you can't skip it. And then what's funny is down towards the bottom of the screen, it'll tell you when your game's actually loaded. It says game loaded. So the game's ready to be played, but there's no skip button or anything like that.
That's terrible.
I mean, I think I was reading some of them.
Yeah,
not,
and
like,
that's the other
2
thing. Some of
minutes
these
long.
aren't like 30 or 15-second clips. Like some of them are multiple minutes long. And so the good news here is that there's honestly really no good news, but you can turn off, if you go into the settings of 2K19, you can turn off 2K TV is what it's called.
Right.
And that essentially just cuts those TV timeouts from your games. But like the gross, greasy part of this is that it's turned on by default. So for people that are unaware that you can turn it off, like they would never know. It's on. And then I was going to say B is that people wouldn't know. but yeah.
You know, the only thing about that is tying back into the first part of the news. See if they had in-game commercial, but they ran literally until the game said game loaded and you could click into it. That would be a fantastic idea, because that would keep the immersion going, because it's like watching the NBA. So if there's a timeout, it pops up with an advert for something, and then you come back after the timeout. That would be brilliant. But for the fact that it tells you that the game's loaded, and
Yeah,
then
that's definitely the worst
you still
part.
have the commercial.
But I don't know, that's tough, because then in my head it's like I would kind of be like, well, they kind of made this stupid long loading screen here just because they could throw advertisement in it either way. Like, I don't know.
So I've got a conspiracy theory about all this.
All right, let's hear it.
So they just had this game on sale for $3.
Oh boy, yep.
So this is them testing for their game next year, and they're going to put
yeah, that
this
makes sense.
garbage in their next rendition of this game. So basically, they're seeing how susceptible or receptive people are to these ads, as well as having to go in through the menus into a back door basically to disable them. How if there's a giant outcry or not, they just don't want to be the next Battlefront 2 basically. So they are tiptoeing around these things, seeing what they can and can't get away with for next year's game.
Well, let me tell you, Moose, so far the reception of this is not great.
Oh yeah, I want to actually uninstall the game off my place or my
It's
Xbox.
horrible, dude. And then if you think about it, the people that you have left that are actually playing this game right now are like your
They're
diehard
loyal,
fans.
super loyal. Yeah, they probably poured hundreds of dollars into this game because, like, I played it and I paid the money to make my character better because it was worth it to do the gold package or whatever.
Right.
But if you don't want to pay to make your guy better, you literally have to play hundreds of hours for each character to get them in even to the 90s. So you start out at like a 69, I think, and it's literally just grind it out. And it's like probably one overall skill point for every 10 hours of gameplay.
That's nuts. And in the Mixer live chat, 10,000 Fish just said that you can expect this for WWE games as well.
Right. It's just terrible. 2K is ruining it. And I'm telling them to bring back the football game, but no, not if you're going to do this garbage.
Not if you have to watch 2-minute commercials.
Yeah.
But
Netflix is going to commercials. Like everybody's talking about, because I heard this in a different radio show that I heard this morning, that Netflix is getting ready to start mandatory commercials because they just can't pay for everything.
At $16 a month already.
That's insane.
Get out of here.
It's you might as well just have TV.
That's nuts.
Yeah, they're turning like this sweet alternative to us having to buy cable, and now they're just turning it into cable.
Exactly.
So what? This is how you get everybody doing weird, sketchy, illegal things on the internet because they don't have to deal with ads.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Ugh, gross. So yeah, not a great look for 2K
so
here.
Boo 2K.
Yeah, that's real bad. All right, next up, the big three against the U.S. tariffs. This has probably been in like normal people news and not just video game news, but the current administration has proposed a 25% tariff on Chinese-made goods. Chinese-made goods, that affects us because that's where all of our consoles come from.
Yep.
And yes, 96% of consoles sold in the U.S. are imported from China. This 25% tariff on these goods translates to roughly $840 million in costs for consumers buying the actual consoles. So if this becomes a thing, you could be looking forward to your video game consoles in the future costing a bit more than you thought you were going to be paying for those.
You think that jacks the price of them up 25%, or because that would put the $400 console up to $500?
Yeah, I mean somebody has to cover it,
right?
And it's
and
not
usually
like
that's us.
Yeah, Sony,
they don't want
Microsoft,
to make less money because
Nintendo
they have to pay
aren't
more
looking
tariffs. So
right, and if you hear a lot of stories about these consoles being made, a lot of like Microsoft is barely making a profit if they're making a profit on all on a lot of their hardware. It's the software that drives these systems, and that's how they make a majority of their money. So taking an even larger hit on these consoles, it's insane. But this story here, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony, in an act of solidarity, they sent a joint letter to the U.S. Trade Representative, pretty much saying, "Hey, let's not do this." But I'll
not
quote
cool,
it quick.
Bro, basically.
That's what they should have wrote. While we appreciate the administration's efforts to protect U.S. intellectual property and preserve U.S. high-tech leadership, the disproportionate harm caused by these tariffs to U.S. consumers and businesses will undermine, not advance, these goals. Accordingly, we respectfully request that the administration remove, and then it's the actual tariff, right, that covers video game consoles from the final list of tariffs and thus refrain from applying tariffs on these products. So they just kind of want a exemption from this.
So do you think this is going to have any weight, or you think this is them just pissing into the wind?
I couldn't tell you.
I know. I don't like to get involved in politics, but I think that the current administration does what it wants and doesn't listen to many people.
But the thing is, things like that,
right?
Trump's obviously a businessman. When it's a company the size of Microsoft you can't really take that
He's
light.
done
down.
crazier things.
That's true. He's done some stuff,
Oh, true,
but we won't get into it.
I mean, I was like, Nintendo and Sony not primarily based in US, but something like
I don't know.
Microsoft.
He
you
had
really
some of the
can't-
greatest minds on his inner circle and on his council, and they've all quit because he doesn't listen to anybody. So, right?
No, in which
Well,
case
you're not
we're
screwed.
No, you're not.
You'll be
But
fine.
you guys have Brexit, so that's
No, but
awesome.
You'll just no longer have friends to play with on the internet.
Oh yeah, exactly. No, I have to have some sort of pigeon carriers to actually send messages to people because they've shut down the whole land.
Awesome.
To the
Could
Just
you
mainland.
perfect.
write the government and see if you guys could possibly share the internet for next week to see if you guys could both be on the show at the same time?
I'm not here, so
Oh, okay.
Scotland's internet won't be too
All
bad.
the internet for
Only
Kate the
one
Great.
person from Scotland.
If you
Yeah.
can take a positive out of the story, it's kind of cool seeing Microsoft, Nintendo,
Right.
and Sony, like the big three, putting their heads together.
Solidarity.
And
It's
Right,
basically,
so-
I can call my brother a jerk, but you're not calling my brother
Only
a
they
jerk.
could
so
get their fingers out and do crossplay.
it's one of those things. They'll back
Yeah,
each other up
exactly.
when they need to, and the back's against the wall, but they'll fight like cats and dogs within their realm.
Yeah, completely agree. So hopefully our PS5s and Xbox 2s don't cost $1,000 a piece.
I won't be
And yes, I
getting
did
one.
call it the Xbox 2. I just hope it's not called the Xbox 2. That's all I'm really hoping for.
I don't know. I think they are just playing with stuff now because Xbox One X actually spells Xbox. The all digital One S is the sad box.
The sad box. I love that.
Because
I hope it's just Xbox.
And if you look at Xbox One X, that's what it is. The XBOX.
No, yeah.
So
I get
don't
what you're
know.
putting out.
Yeah,
Picking up what you're laying down.
they like to be subtle and cute, but it's not.
Super subtle and cute.
So how they're managing to make the next one sort of money box, which will all be.
All right, moving on to the next story. Remedy acquires publishing rights for Alan Wake. It's kind of a weird one. This news came to us from a news release for investors. They purchased the publishing rights for Alan Wake from Microsoft. Microsoft has had it for 9 years when it first came out, and obviously it was exclusive to the platform. They've now bought back the rights for 2.5 million euros. That's approximately 2.8 mil in the US dollars. What this now means, though, is that Remedy could essentially publish this for PlayStation. It's on PC now, but that kind of makes sense with Microsoft and their whole PC initiative. But if you were a lifetime Sony person and you ever got to play Alan Wake down the road, you might be able to do that now. Remedy was reached out to by a bunch of different news outlets, and they said there's nothing to announce because they're fully focused on their new game, Control. That's like it looks like a sequel to Quantum Break, but kind of cool. Getting the publishing rights for your own game after 9 years, and like this is a cult classic in my opinion. Like people adored this game, so it would be cool if this actually turns into something.
You think this might help your wishes for a sequel?
It doesn't hurt it. if they know that they can make this and then put it literally everywhere, there you go. Maybe. I hope so, dude. It was such a good game, and yeah,
Isn't it scary?
It was a fantastic game.
it's not that scary.
No, not too bad.
It's more like psychologically kind of weird, I would say, than like jump
Oh,
scare, like horror.
the ones that keep you up instead of just scare you and then you forget about it. Gotcha.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. Well, it's not for everybody. Hopefully, it's
I'm
in
just
Game
messing
Pass.
with you.
I'm gonna pick it for you.
Perfect. I actually almost picked Resident Evil just to throw you guys off. but I
That
didn't.
definitely would have thrown us off, but you weren't going to be here for the next 2 weeks, so that actually would have made a lot of sense. 'Cause, hey, you
Not
don't
that
need
smart.
to play it. Yeah, so good for Remedy. And the last little thing here to touch on in the news, I'm assuming Chocolate added this, but Season 2 of Apex is out now.
There's dragons?
Or by the time you're playing this. Yeah,
you watched the trailer at all?
Apparently so.
I watched the teaser from E3 and I saw giant dragon eyes. They're actually going to be dragons?
I think so. It's real weird. There's like animals that
Yeah,
have been
apparently
held back
they-
by these special towers from Titanfall.
Oh, of
and
course.
now they're turning off the towers and the animals are coming in.
So do I get my Titan now to take down these giant animals? Because
I
I'd
don't
really
think
like
so.
that.
You just get a Mozambique.
Oh, perfect.
But I think they were buffing it a little bit, so you might be able to kill something with it now.
Yeah. Well, cool, I guess.
If you guys can't tell, Risky's not a fan of
I'm not.
of Apex, so
Sir Moxalot, this news is just for you and Chocolate, so enjoy. That's going to do it for the main stuff, though. Not a heavy news week by any means, but there's nothing wrong with that. Before we get going, though, let's get into some new games coming out this week, and we have our new Games with Gold and PlayStation Plus for next month. So, Moose, take it away.
all right. There's a few games coming out this week in the middle of the
Some
summer,
stuff.
surprisingly. Yeah. We've got Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers expansion coming out on the 2nd for PS4 and PC. I think that's the online version, right, guys?
Yeah, that's our, like, MMO one.
So if you guys are into that, you got more content coming here soon. Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered Edition on the Switch.
Clever.
See how they did that there? Yeah. Here's one I think Chocolate might have added this one. Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator. Also out 7/2 on the Switch.
That sounds right up Chocolate's alley, so
Sounds so weird.
I would
Yeah.
say he definitely added that.
You'll love
Nice one,
that.
Chocolate. Appreciate you.
Stranger Things 3, the video game, coming out on the 4th of July. So
All right.
light some fireworks and play some Stranger Things. Go to the, what is it, Upside Down? Is that what they call it?
Go to the Upside Down. Yep.
And then
Yeah, Upside
what
Down.
Remains of Edith Finch is coming out on the 4th as well for the Switch. So I hear that's a pretty good game.
Real
sounds
good game.
Like a great platform to play it on.
It's 2 hours long, so just know that if you're gonna.
How
buy
much
it.
is the game? Look
I-
at that.
I don't know. I would assume it's $19.99.
Ugh, that's a little steep for the
Ladonian
eShop.
says it was free on the Epic Store a few weeks ago, so hopefully you got it there. That's a
Well,
great game though. Great story.
I'll wait for it to be 90% off and buy it for $1.
Do it.
So let's see. We've got Sea of Solitude coming out on the 5th. Not sure what that is or where it's at, but it's coming. They Are Billions also on the 5th. And Attack on Titan 2 Final Battle is also being released sometime this week. I don't have a date.
On the 5th, sorry. I
5th.
didn't mark the last one.
So if you guys haven't played these Attack on Titan games, I haven't, but I've seen them. They are some weird games. They're
Yeah,
just
you're-
like big naked giants everywhere, and you gotta like climb up. It's kind of like Shadow of the Colossus, but the art style's
But
not
naked
anything
men and
like it.
women?
Yeah, it's a little bit strange,
Oh
but
my
that's
God.
coming.
What a
so.
perfect description for what Attack on Titan is. That's so good.
Isn't it like an anime also?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then games with gold this month, we got Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Symphony of the Night coming. It's going to be available till the 15th, and then we've got Inside available all month.
Yeah, so before we started recording, you guys were kind of like on them, and I understand that. But if you haven't played either of these games, like, well worth the free download for sure. I had said top 100 games of all time. I think both of those games fit on there somewhere. So give them a look.
Then PlayStation Plus, you got PES 19 Pro Evolution Soccer, the good game, right? Chaotic.
Oh, the
And
good
then-
soccer
Oh, yeah,
game.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then Horizon
Yeah.
Chase Turbo as well. So that looks like a down month for PlayStation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say Xbox wins out this one.
And always, stay tuned and posted in our Discord every time they make releases as far as Game Pass or any news to Games with Gold or anything that's being released. That's where you'll find it first.
Yeah, buddy. We did it, guys, and we're at an hour and 14 minutes right now. 15.
What
That
are we
is-
going to talk about for another 45 minutes?
Nope,
Nice.
we're not going to do that. I was giving us props. That's because Kate wasn't here to fill up the last 15 minutes with what she'd been playing, I bet.
We've all had busy outside weeks, too, so, it hasn't been a whole lot of time for gaming.
It is. I was like, oh, man, 5:30 in the afternoon when it's 80 and sunny out. What a perfect time to be hiding upstairs in my closet recording a podcast.
With no AC.
I have to turn it off right before the show, and then I just slowly start to lose items of clothing as it gets hotter
Yeah, I
and
was going to
hotter.
say, Megan walks in, she's like, why is your shirt off?
Can't
Should record
explain.
shirtless? I do. Maybe
Yeah,
get some more viewers.
Way more viewers. All right, let's plug this thing up. Make sure you rate us on iTunes or whatever podcast service you're using. iTunes is definitely important, though. The higher the rating, the more ratings, the more eyes can be put on the podcast. CrossAtlanticGaming.com, that has links to everything like Discord, all the social media, YouTube, all that stuff. Discord is the number one place to be. We urge everybody to come join us over there. You can keep up with everything that's happening all the time. It's wonderful. Patreon. Every episode, I want to shout out our top tier contributors, or contributor, I should say, and that is the man on the show, Chaotic. Thank you for your continued support. We appreciate you
You're the best.
so much.
Welcome, guys.
He's my favorite person in the community. Don't tell him.
Hey.
Sorry. And then I will mention again, quick, is that our Patreon page will be a little more active now, with us posting at least once a week. And it's all three of us posting stuff, so you'll kind of get a different, you get to know us a little bit better, maybe our styles of whatever. Yeah, it's good stuff. Patreon.com/CAG podcast. And the Patreon episode is actually next week. Next week. Yes, that one. So you still have some time to get in on the game drawing or whatever, the gift card drawing thingy, the giveaway. So
We got giveaways, y'all.
We got giveaways, y'all. And then cagpodcast@gmail.com if you need to reach us via email for anything. So, yeah, that's going to do it. I am Risky the Kid everywhere. Moose, how about you?
Moosenstein 8314 everywhere.
Chaotic, where can we find you?
Everywhere I am chaotic UI.
Easy
He said
peasy.
chaotic UI for all those American people.
Chaotic UI. Nailed it. Chaotic, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Pleasure as always.
Anytime, buddy.
That's going to do it, though. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Cross Atlantic Gaming. We'll catch you guys next week for an all-new episode. Goodbye.
Later.
See ya.
Who's got the dad jokes?
I got one for each of you.
Oh, boy. Let's hear it.
All right, chaotic. Why do seals swim in salt water?
I don't know, why do they swim in salt water?
Because pepper water makes them sneeze.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's real dumb.
Staying on the pepper train, what does a nosy pepper do?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Gets all up in your business.
Oh, good God. Those are good.
Oh,
So,
I thought I had some good ones for those, or they take the biscuit.
yeah, actually, my wife wrote these down on my notepad right here, so
Oh,
loves me.
Meg's the best.
Yep.
Did you hear about the cheese factory that exploded in France?
No, what happened?
There was nothing left but debris.
That's as good as Philippe Philip.
Philippe Philip. God. How do you make holy water?
How?
You boil the hell out of it.
Oh, well done, Risky.
I gotta ruin
He
it with
likes to
somebody's
ruin
joke
jokes. Yeah, that's what he does.
each week. You are welcome.
Do you know the first French fries weren't actually cooked in France?
They weren't.
They were cooked in Greece.
Ah, got him.
Perfect.